Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Kay and it's been a little minute, alright? So I took a little break from YouTube, but I'm back with bigger and better videos, and I wanted to start off by doing a video that you guys wanted to see. So I had you guys vote in the community tab, and it looks like you chose requirements for becoming a monitor tech. 54 of you guys voted, and it was 67% for that particular topic. So I mean, it's like unanimous. All right, so that's the video that we're gonna do today, so stay tuned. Hey you guys, the lip gloss that I'm wearing in this video is by Denise Rose Cosmetics, and I guarantee you guys won't see any lip gloss that looks this good, okay? They not only look good, but they look good on your lips. Alright, so the flavors I have today are Poppin' Purple and Glowing Gold. So make sure you check them out, DeniseRoseCosmetics.com. Alright you guys, so before I get started on this video, I just want to say that I hope that you guys are staying safe and free. Okay, I hope that you guys are wearing your mask and taking the right safety precaution, okay, because people are actually dying from this illness, this pandemic. Alright, so make sure that you are being safe. Now, I'm going to be answering your monitor tech questions at the end of this video, because maybe other people would want to know the answer, so stay tuned till the very end if you want your questions answered, okay? Alright, so we're going to get right into this first requirement, because I know people hate when people on YouTube go on and they don't get to it, so I'm getting to it. Alright, so you need a high school diploma. Now, hospitals won't really hire you unless you're 18 years old or older, because I mean there are labor laws, and you know, I don't know if you guys worked in high school, but you know, I started my first job when I was 16 years old. I worked at Chuck E. Cheese, and then I worked at Universal Studios, and every like 4 hours they would like hunt me down to make sure I took a break. Okay, so in a hospital setting, that is not gonna happen. All right, no manager is gonna be chasing after you to make sure you get a break. I mean, you'll be lucky if you get a break, because sometimes it's just so busy. So you're definitely gonna have to be at least 18 years old to be able to work in the hospital setting. You can work in a gift shop as a volunteer, or you can work other places on the floor, certain floors as a volunteer. I know I volunteered in high school, so you could do that, but you can't really work for pay in the hospital setting unless you're 18 years old with a high school diploma or a GED. Also, I want to mention that you can get your CNA license, and you can start as a CNA in high school, you know, 16, 17 years old, and then you can get some experience, and by the time you turn 18, 19, you'll probably be able to get a job in the hospital because you had prior experience. So that is another thing that you can do while you're waiting to become grown, okay? Alright, so number 2 is CPR certification, aka your BLS, and BLS stands for Basic Life Savings. Okay, so not all hospitals are going to require that you have a BLS for a monitor tech job, but some will. So it just really depends. I would just get it anyways, because I mean it may cost you like $40-50, but it's worth it to just have it just in case you need it. So I would just go ahead and get it, and that's something that you wouldn't have to worry about. Alright, so number 3 on the list is experience. Alright, now that's kind of weird me saying that, but some hospitals actually require that you have at least 1 year of prior monitor tech experience or some kind of EKG experience for them to hire you. Okay, so I wouldn't really look at that and say I'm not gonna apply because they need 1 year of experience. Usually it's gonna say preferred. Okay, sometimes it will say required, but I would just try it anyways, because you never know how desperate a hospital is to fill a certain position, and maybe you could be at the right place at the right time and you may get hired. So I would just go ahead and give it a shot, even if you have minimal experience as a monitor tech. Okay, so just keep in mind that it's just always worth a try. All right, so now we're gonna get into the certifications. Now, I'm gonna tell you 3 different routes, and I'm gonna tell you the route that I took. So the route that I took, and I would say this is the most popular route because most of the other people that I knew became monitor tech through this option, is to actually get certified at the hospital that you work at. So you already work at the hospital, you know, it doesn't matter if you work in the kitchen, in the ER, on the floor as a tech, you can definitely get certified as a monitor tech. All you got to do is find the manager and, you know, ask your manager and see if you are able to take the class. And, you know, this is like a great 2-for-1 deal for the hospital because sometimes, you know, they can have you doing your primary role, and then if they need a monitor tech, you could be like a fill-in. So this is like a great cross-training experience, and it's great for you too because you're learning a new skill. Like for me, I was fortunate enough to do that because I'm like, I didn't have to pay for it, and they actually paid me to take the class. You know, it was a 4-week class, and it was about 4 hours for each class, and it was 4 days. So the class was a total of like 16 hours. And I got paid for it, and I learned a new skill. So, you know, it's a win-win. And I know that someone commented that, you know, it's always the people in the hospital that gets these jobs, but, you know, you can kind of see why. But, you know, like I said, once you get your foot in the door, there are so many other opportunities. And I want you guys to check my video out where I talked about how to get your foot in the door if you're having a hard time getting a monitor tech job. Okay, so that's option 1, and that's the most popular. Now we're going to talk about option 2, and that's to take a EKG Tech course. And I personally don't really know people that took a EKG Tech course. I mean, there may be some, like, I'm not going to say that there's not monitor techs out there with EKG Tech certification, but I just never met one myself. You know, most of us just took the course at the hospital, or we tested out based on prior experience. I'm going to talk about that next. But you know, if you took a monitor tech class, like a EKG Tech class, you could definitely get a monitor tech job through certification, doing it that way. Or you can have prior experience with EKGs or cardiac experience. I know that some people have experience as a paramedic. Some hospitals will tell you that if you have your paramedic certification, you can take the EKG test. Now, if you pass the test, then you can train to become a monitor tech. All right. And when I was done with my course, I also had to take a final exam, the same test that paramedic would take. All right. And you have to also realize that as an EMT, you can't become a monitor tech just based on the fact that you're an EMT. And that's because, like, as an EMT, you're not going to be dealing with a lot of cardiac stuff as far as EKG is concerned. We only learn the basics in EMT school. Like, they only teach you like the VTAC, VFib, asystole, and that's like about it. They teach you the lethal stuff that will kill you right away. But you know, you can't use that certification to become a monitor tech, but you can take the course. And if you have prior cardiac experience where you dealt with EKG, it's always worth a shot. And you know, you may want to say that in your cover letter, like explain that, okay, I did this job. I was like a nurse, or, you know, in this country, or I was a doctor in this country, or whatever. And I'm good with EKGs, and you know, they may let you take the EKG test. Okay, so I always say it's always worth a try. All right, so number 4 is being able to sit for long periods of time and keep your attention focused on those cardiac rhythms and be able to make decisions. Okay, now it sounds really easy sometimes to, you know, sit in the monitor room on your butt the whole 12 hours and just look at different cardiac rhythms, but it's not always so easy because in the hospital it's always just very cold, and sometimes you just get so sleepy. So, you know, that can be a challenge at times, especially if you work at night and you're not used to working at night and you get, you know, really sleepy. That could just be a disaster because you're like the eyes for the nurses and the techs on the floor and the doctors, because no one is always with the patient consistently. Like they're off doing other things and taking care of other people, so you're kind of like their eyes, and you know, you're able to call the nurse or the tech when something is going wrong. But if you're in there sleeping and you know, you're not able to focus, that could be disastrous for everyone, and that could actually lead to the patient dying. So you got to be careful and, you know, just make sure that you're able to pay attention. And, you know, it's not for everyone, and I'm not trying to discourage anyone, but, you know, that's a very serious job. So you got to make sure that you're always focused when you do this job. All right, so last but not least, you have to be confident but open-minded at the same time. I think that there should be a balance in between the two, because when you know your stuff, you know your stuff, okay? Because there are times when people are going to say, are you sure? Are you sure this is AFib? And then you have to be confident in your knowledge to say, yes, I know that is AFib, okay? So you have to, you know, just be confident in your knowledge and don't second guess yourself consistently. But when you really don't know, you have to be able to say that you don't know, because this is like a difference between life and death. So you have to be able to say that you don't know and be open to what others can teach you, because I've learned a lot from my coworkers that, you know, may have more experience than me. But, you know, there are times when I'm like, if I know, I just know that I know, and it doesn't matter what this person's saying. If I know that this rhythm is what I think it is, I'm gonna stick with it because, you know, I'm confident in myself. But, you know, I just know there are times when I just don't know everything, so I have to be open-minded. So, you know, that's very important, because this is going to take a team effort. You know, you're going to work with your coworkers, and you're also going to work with other nurses and sometimes the doctors. So, you know, it is a team effort, so you have to be willing to learn. All right, you guys, so those are the requirements to becoming a monitor tech. And, you know, if you guys have any more tips for people that want to become monitor techs, make sure you put it in the comments below so they can read it. Now I'm going to answer your questions, okay? All right, so somebody said, Muhammad said, do they test you with EKG rhythms before they hire you? And the answer is yes. They definitely do. Now, if you take the EKG course at the hospital that I told you about, at the end of the course, you're going to be doing testing, and you have to pass it. And a lot of times if you get one of those lethal rhythms wrong, then you just fail the whole exam. So that's the asystole, AFib, VFib, VTAC. If you get one of those wrong, a lot of times you will fail it. It just depends on the hospital. Some people may allow you to retake it, but you know, sometimes you can't retake it. Or maybe retake it only twice before you have to take the whole course all over again. And if you're coming in with prior experience, maybe as a paramedic or maybe like a nurse from a different country or something, you have to also take the exam and you have to pass it. So yes, you do have to take an exam. Somebody said, thanks for the... I need to say people's names. Vitali Kolik said, thanks for the review. I just applied to a monitor tech position. I agree. Interpreting all kinds of rhythms is not easy. $11 to $12 an hour. Starting pay is truly abysmal, considering that even a job at Best Buy with zero responsibility pays more. Yeah, unfortunately, in the healthcare field, we're not always paid what we're worth. But, you know, it is what it is. I think that sometimes you have to really look at it as just experience. That's how I look at it. But, you know, if you work for a good company, you may get paid, you know, decent. And I know some people that worked as monitor techs got paid really, really well. So it really just depends on where you're located. Alright, so Tia Moeller said, do we need to be good at math to be an EKG tech? I don't think I would have been if that was like a requirement, because I'm not great at math. I do okay, I can do algebra, all that crap, but I wouldn't say I'm amazing at math. So no, you don't have to be wonderful at math. You just need to know how to do the measurements and also how to analyze the rhythms, and that's basically all there is to it. Alright, so two more. So Marcella Garcia said, would you say that this is a good position for college students? And I would say definitely. If I could go back, I would definitely try and get a job in the hospital when I was in college, but I really wasn't sure how to make that happen. That's why I make these videos, because I know that people that are younger, like 17, 18, can watch my videos and learn how to get into the hospital, because I did try, but I could never get into the hospital setting when I was in college. But this will be great because you'll be learning a new skill, and you could probably use this stuff in your classes. And also, if you work for the hospital, you can get tuition reimbursement from your employer. So that is, you know, a really good job, and it will be really good benefits for you. So definitely. One more. So Jackson Gates said, do you know if a 16-year-old could do this job, or do you need to have a high school diploma? And yes, you definitely need to have a high school diploma to be able to do this job. Alright, so I hope that I answered some of your questions, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure you thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and share with your friends. Alright, I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!